30,000 days. That is all you get. Not 30,000 chances, not 30,000 opportunities to get it right. 30,000 days, from the moment you open your eyes for the first time to the moment you close them for the last. The average human life, measured not in years but in days, is 27,375. If you live well, if you sleep enough and stress less, maybe you stretch it to 30,000. That is the ceiling. That is the clock. Marcus is 35 years old. He graduated in the top 10% of his class. He reads 2 books a month. He holds a master's degree in finance. His colleagues call him the smartest person in the room. His performance reviews are immaculate. And yet, Marcus has $4,200 in his savings account. He has no investments. He has no assets. He has a salary that goes in and a life that takes it all back out. Marcus has approximately 17,225 days left. Not years, days. When you hear that number spoken out loud, something shifts. You stop thinking about next quarter. You stop thinking about the 5-year plan. You start thinking about what you're actually building and whether what you are building belongs to you. This video is about Marcus. It is about intelligence. It is about systems. And it is about why, in a world that rewards cleverness, the smartest people are often the ones who end up with the least. Here is the first hard truth. Intelligence, on its own, is not an asset. It is a tool. And like any tool, what matters is not who owns it, it is who it is working for. Marcus is intelligent, extraordinarily so, and for the last decade, he has used that intelligence to solve problems, complex ones, the kind that make his employer's quarterly reports look exceptional, the kind that earns him a bonus in December and a handshake in the hallway. But here's what nobody told Marcus in school. When you solve someone else's problem, they keep the solution. You get a salary. They get a system. You get a paycheck that expires in 30 days. They get an asset that compounds for 30 years. This is what economists call the employee paradox. The more valuable you are to an organization, the more efficiently you are helping someone else build wealth. Your intelligence becomes the engine of their machine, and the better you run, the more dependent they become on keeping you exactly where you are, comfortable, compensated, and contained. This is the comfortable cage. It does not feel like a cage at first. The salary is good, the office is clean, the health insurance is comprehensive, there's a gym on the 2nd floor, there's a sense of purpose, of contribution, of belonging. But purpose is not equity. Belonging is not ownership, and contribution, when it is not tied to the asset it creates, is simply labor, dressed in a good chair and a company laptop. The new rich, the people quietly building real wealth, understood this distinction early. They did not simply work harder, they did not simply work smarter, they made a different bet entirely. They stopped selling solutions, they started building systems. A system works while you sleep. A system does not take sick days. A system does not negotiate its salary at the end of the fiscal year. And critically, a system does not consume your 17,225 remaining days, one invoice at a time. Marcus never built a system. He built a reputation. And reputations, however excellent, do not pay your rent when the company restructures. In 2014, a man named Ronald Reed died in Brattleboro, Vermont. He was 92 years old. He had worked as a janitor for most of his life. He drove a second-hand car. He repaired his own coat with safety pins rather than buy a new one. His neighbors described him as quiet, pleasant, and entirely unremarkable. Ronald Reed left behind an estate worth $8 million. He had spent decades quietly buying shares in companies he understood. He reinvested the dividends. He never sold in panic. He never chased trends. He simply let time and consistency do what intelligence alone never could. In that same era, a man named Richard Fuscone was living a very different life. Harvard MBA, vice chairman at Merrill Lynch, a man described by financial media as a prodigy, a man who had everything Marcus dreams of: the title, the education, the credibility. Richard Fuscone declared bankruptcy in 2008. His leveraged, complex, high-intelligence financial strategy collapsed beneath him. He lost everything. Let that sit for a moment. The janitor beat the Harvard executive. Not because Ronald Read was smarter, he almost certainly was not. Not because he had better access, better connections, or better information. He won because of behavior. Morgan Housel, in his landmark work on the psychology of money, makes this exact point. Wealth is not a consequence of intelligence. It is a consequence of behavior sustained over time. And behavior, patience, consistency, the ability to endure boredom and resist fear, is not taught in any MBA program. Marcus has the intelligence of Richard Fuscone. He does not yet have the behavior of Ronald Read. And until that changes, the gap between what Marcus earns and what Marcus owns will continue to widen quietly, invisibly, one day at a time. There's a concept in behavioral economics called the hedonic treadmill. The premise is simple. Human beings have a remarkable capacity to adapt to new circumstances. We get a raise, and within months, the new salary feels normal. We buy the bigger apartment, and within a year, we want the bigger apartment in the better neighborhood. The treadmill keeps moving, the pace keeps increasing, and we keep running. For Marcus, this looks like progress. Every 3 years, a promotion. Every promotion, a lifestyle upgrade. The car improves, the restaurant tier improves, the holiday destinations improve, but the savings account remains approximately the same. This is the trap. And it is not a moral failure, it is not laziness, it is neuroscience. We are wired to normalize comfort and chase the next increment. The system is not broken, it is working exactly as designed to keep us earning, spending, and returning to work. Now apply the 30,000-day lens. Every day Marcus trades his time for money, he's making an irreversible transaction. Time is the only currency that cannot be recovered. Money lost can be recovered. Opportunities missed can be recreated. But a Tuesday in March 2024, that day is gone permanently. If Marcus trades 40 hours of his week for a salary, he is not simply working, he is selling the finite resource his life is made of, in exchange for a number that resets to zero every 30 days. The math, when you see it clearly, is brutal. He is not building, he is renting his own existence back to himself, one paycheck at a time. And the clock has 17,225 days left. The question is not whether Marcus is smart enough to change this. He is. The question is whether he will build something that outlasts a single paycheck before time makes the decision for him.
But there is a bridge. A way to stop the clock from bleeding out while you were busy building someone else's dream. For decades, Marcus was told that his value was in what he knew. He was trained to be a repository of information, a human encyclopedia. But in 2025, knowing is no longer a competitive advantage, it is a commodity. The rich have always understood a secret that the middle class ignores. Wealth is not created by the person who performs the task. It is created by the person who owns the system that performs the task. Marcus spent 12 years perfecting his skill, but he never owned the engine. He was the pilot, but he didn't own the plane. And now the plane is being automated. The shift we are seeing is not about technology. It is about sovereignty. It is about moving from being an asset on someone else's balance sheet to owning assets on your own. There are 2 ways to spend your remaining 17,225 days. You can be a laborer or an architect. The laborer focuses on input. How many hours did I work today? The architect focuses on leverage. How much value did my system create today?
Leverage is the only way to beat the 30,000-day clock. It is the ability to disconnect your income from your heartbeat. In the past, leverage required hundreds of employees and millions in capital. It was out of reach for people like Marcus. But today, the barriers have dissolved. You don't need a team to build an empire anymore. You need a vision. You need a system. And yes, you use AI, not as a toy, but as your invisible workforce, your army of tireless agents that allow you to be the architect of your own time. The biggest mistake Marcus made was seeking security. In a world of rapid change, security is the ultimate illusion. The only real security is the ability to create value without permission. Freedom is not the ability to do nothing. It is the ability to do what matters, when it matters, with whom it matters. It is being present for the Tuesday afternoons that the salary used to steal. The new rich build assets that buy back their time. They use their current income to fund their future sovereignty. They start small, they start messy, but they start. Conclusion: the final clock. 30,000 days. The numbers don't lie. Every second you spend overthinking is a second you are spending on the treadmill, running in place while your life evaporates. Look at the remaining numbers on your clock. What are you building? Does it belong to you, or are you just a highly intelligent tool in someone else's machine? The 30,000-day window is closing. Drop the books, start the machine, become the architect. Welcome to Wealth and AI Empires. Build your empire today.